Welcome back to another episode of LineageView. I'm LineageView and I'm going to try and learn how to juggle in 72 hours or less. I'm going to be taking you through the whole process. I'll be showing you all of the struggles and challenges, and hopefully by the end of this video I'll be an absolute pro. Let's go. So before we embark on this journey, I wanted to make sure that I really knew what juggling was, so I went onto some reputable sites such as Wikipedia and Google to find out what it was, and they basically describe juggling as the motion of keeping more than one object up in the air at once. Day 1. Okay, so it would be a lie to say that I wasn't struggling in the beginning. So I play guitar and I'm constantly playing games and stuff, so I assumed that my hand-eye coordination would be pretty spot on. However, this seemed not to be the case. I started by just practicing with 2 juggling balls rather than 3 so I could try and understand the technique a little bit better. This admittedly didn't last long and I just jumped ahead with trying to learn 3 instead. I felt that I may as well be failing by trying to juggle 3 than failing at trying to juggle 2, if that makes any sense. On the first day, I must have spent at least 4 or 5 hours almost constantly just practicing. I didn't check any YouTube videos or anything like that. I kind of just wanted to brute force learn it just by trying and trying over and over again. Interestingly, I'd get really lucky at times and successfully throw 3 balls and catch them, however I was completely stuck after that. It's almost like I was in such awe of actually just throwing and catching the 3 balls that my arms wouldn't continue the motion of trying to continue the juggle. This was more of a mental boundary than anything else, actually trying to break the cycle of only juggling 3. In the midst of all of this, actually getting to the point where I threw 3 balls successfully was incredibly hit or miss. So after hours and hours of practicing, my arms were ready to drop off, my legs were aching like crazy, and I had a bit of a headache from concentrating so much for such a long period of time. Day 2. So when I woke up, first thing I did was try and practice juggling again, and weirdly, it was like I was back at the beginning again. I just couldn't juggle at all. I wasn't sure whether this was because my arms were still tired or whether it was just because I had just woken up, so I put it down for a bit and got ready for the day. It was sunny, so I decided to practice outside instead. I started to regain some form of consistency and continued to practice for a few more hours. We then decided to go and get some donuts because, I mean, just look at them. Look how good these donuts look. After the donut break, I decided to carry on practicing and record myself so I could watch my form. My biggest problem, other than inconsistency, was that almost every time I was constantly throwing the balls too far, and it was making me drop them every time, as well as making me travel for them, which is apparently not the right form. So I was noticing that now I was able to pretty consistently juggle at least 3 throws every time, which was great progress for day 2. I recorded some videos in slow motion so I could check my form and see exactly where I was going wrong. Day 3. On the previous day, I'd ordered some professional juggling balls off Amazon that were much heavier and supposedly better for actually juggling. They arrived and I started to practice more for hours and hours. Now, the weight difference compared to the original ones I was using was massive. According to the Amazon post, these were 120 gram juggling balls, which is much heavier in comparison. So, with all that said, where are we at the moment? Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed the content. This is kind of a different one for me, but I had so much fun making this. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and there will be much more like this in the future. Okay, take it easy, guys.